Let's see what happens this time. Hi. Um, so I wanted to talk to you today about selling, and it's all going to start with me telling you a story about my glasses. So please bear with me because this does relate to selling. So early in April, hello Alexandra, hi. Early in April, you may have picked up that I turned 70. And at about the same time, I was in Australia and I saw a woman wearing the glasses that I'm wearing. And I thought they were really trendy. If you see, I've got stripy sides and red bits and the soft color at the front. So I went to enormous effort to get hold of these glasses. And I've been wearing them. And the problem is that they feel squishy. Hi Alan. Hi, Lisa. Hello, Steph. So my glasses made me feel 70 and squishy. And this is quite relevant because I think I've actually started behaving slightly differently since I was 70. And it's all clearly psychological. But anyway, the point that I want to make is that your glasses and your clothes, and when this comes to selling as well, are your brand. They are basically communicating who you are. Hello, Marlene. There's lots of people joining me. It's lovely to see you all. So anyway, this is the story of my glasses, and this is the story of my career. So when I first started pitching myself as a consultant, I was wearing these. And actually, these were about right, because what you could see, or my coach told me that what you could see when I was wearing these was that I was everybody's favorite aunt, but because they're round, they're sort of vaguely businessy. And then I went on to these, and I'm going back to these because as I started to build my confidence and my clientele, I went on to these. And these should be telling you that I'm very, very focused on what I'm doing and that I'm very, very serious about what I'm doing. And that's actually who I am. And I'm most comfortable talking to you wearing these glasses. So when I made the transition to these, I felt 70 and squishy. So anyway, that's the story of my glasses. Oh goodness, hello Bruce. That's the story of my glasses, and I'm going back to my originals. So I want to be really focused here, and I want to talk to you about how all this impacts your ability to sell. So in the first days when I started my knitwear career, it was the days of padded shoulders. So if I would go and see a buyer, I would make sure that I was wearing a business suit, and I'd go in full steam with all my confidence and sell whatever it was I was going to sell. That all changed, and then people started being much more authentic and found that they could do absolutely anything, including breastfeeding in a sales meeting. If you want, I've actually known people do that. So it's this question of, how do you present yourself? How do you want a buyer to see you? Johnny, my goodness, I must have put this on my general page because all my old friends are joining in here. Lovely to see you all. So what do you do? How do you sell yourself? Because when you're going in to a meeting with a key buyer or a store buyer in particular, you represent your brand, or whoever is there represents your brand. Whoever is selling for you represents your brand. And it really is incredibly important that they are in tune with your proposition. Hi, Sarah. Hello, Judy. Goodness me, there are all sorts of people on here. So it's really important that your proposition, that you represent the proposition to your brand. And this actually goes through with everything that you do when you're in that meeting. So one extremely useful trick that I found was the art of mirroring. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with this. But if you go into a meeting, you are inevitably so full of the information that you want to give the buyer about how wonderful your brand brand is, brand are, that you can forget that she is coming at this, or he is coming at this from a completely different perspective. So whilst it's important, oh, Scott, Scott's come to join me as well. I think you all want to hear about my glasses. Your buyer has their own agenda. So whilst you're there wanting to talk about how wonderful your products are, because that's what you're absorbed in and that's all you've been working with for months and months and months, they are actually wanting to know, asking themselves the question, does this brand fit within my range? Can I sell it? And can this person deliver, which is really key. And in order for you to get across the fact that you understand this, you need to realize that they are interested in making money. So there is absolutely no point in you sitting in a meeting talking about all the virtues and wonderful ingredients in your products and how great they are if you haven't got clear the numbers behind your selling proposition. So be really clear what you can offer, what you can discount, what your delivery terms are, all the nitty-gritty business facts. And quite honestly, these glasses would help me do that a great deal better than these glasses. Okay? So the other thing that can be really, really useful to you when you're selling is to, I've got these comments coming up. Hi, Scott. Can be really, really useful when you're selling, is to learn how to mirror what the buyer is expressing to you. So if you go into a meeting and you find that the buyer is informal with you, you can be informal back. If they ask you personal questions, you can ask personal questions back. But if they come across as very formal, then you should be too. And it's also a great idea if they ask you a question to begin your answer by repeating that question. So if they say to you, what terms and conditions do you require? Then start with, well, when we're talking about terms and conditions, the terms and conditions I require are, so that you're actually totally engaging your buyer in your conversation. The other thing that's really useful is to have something in your proposition to a buyer that allows them to put their mark on your range. Now with soap, this was incredibly easy for me, because what I used to do was go in with several sets of labels, several stories around my soap. And then I would get the buyer to choose what colors, which story they wanted, and what color soaps they felt would fit in with that story. And that way, because they had actually invested their creative input in the proposition, they had bought into me and my brand, and they were likely, as it turned out did, to be very loyal to it and to want it to succeed because they had put something of themselves in it. So it could be that you could, inevitably a buyer is going to ask you for exclusivity of your range, which in most cases you shouldn't give, certainly not of your whole range. But you could say to the buyer, well, how about we put together a unique gift package for you, or a unique collection for you, and that can be exclusive, and then discuss with them. Judy's saying she loves my new glasses. The old ones are fun, but the new ones are very swish. Well, I don't. I've gone back to these, Judy. Where was I? I've completely lost my train of thought now. So you can offer an exclusive package. So the art here is to make the buyer feel that they are special and that their story is special. It's also really important that you, it's really important that before you go into a store, you are absolutely clear on who they're stocking, why they're stocking them, and to have some idea as to whether your products are really going to be right for that store and right for their customer base. And you should ask a lot of questions. So don't go in all guns blazing, fully immersed in your range. One of the things you need to do is understand that the buyer is a human being and that they have big issues, and that their job is to sell as much product as they can for the people that employ them. So your job really is to take that on board and to work with them to achieve what the figures that they have to achieve and that they have to present to their bosses. So always obviously take with you any promotions that you have, any publicity that you've had, anything that gives you credibility. But the most credibility that you can offer is to understand the numbers. It's really, really important that you have a business-like approach to your numbers, and to treat this meeting not just as a chance for them to see your gorgeous products and want to stock them, but a chance for them to realize the profitability in those products. So we've got a whole gang of people on there. Has anybody got any questions for me? Where did you all come from? How many of you are actually struggling with selling? Say yay. Say yay if you're struggling. Because I think there's a huge fear around selling, and actually, if you've got the confidence to have created your brand in the first place, what you're actually doing is giving the buyer the opportunity to stock it. So you're not there. Hi, Steph. Oh, you're not there to you're not there to get them to take something, to give you money for something because you need the money. You're there to give them the opportunity to give your great products out to their clientele. And this is really important. And this is around your mindset. Fear to be disturbing, Alexander's saying. Yes, this is around your mindset and your confidence. And if you think about it, if you talk to anybody, if you don't believe in what you're saying, and if you haven't totally bought into your own proposition, then why on earth should anyone else? So you have to do a lot of work on yourself and your confidence before you go in. Now there's some of you out there I know who the thought of doing this simply sends them running a mile. And that's fine, because none of us are good at everything. And you may have created a beautiful brand, but just don't have the confidence or nous to go out and sell it. But if that's the case, then you simply have to recognize this, and you have to take on somebody that can, an agent or a distributor, but somebody that can represent and sell the products for you. As you will know by now, probably, I have my masterclass opening again on the 21st of May. And we cover all this in some depth. But what I'm talking about, as with everything around your brand, goes down a great deal to your mindset and your belief in yourself and your product range. So take that on board. Now, another point that I want to make is that if you do take on an agent or a sales agent, please be clear that they are going to represent your brand. I made the mistake of taking on a hugely competent and highly skilled sales guy with my soap company, who had the doors open and to all intents and purposes was doing everything right. But he didn't have the sort of touchy-feely approach or the understanding of the value of natural products that somebody else might have. And that meant that every negotiation that he did and every door he tried to open, the sale became strictly a financial transaction. And obviously with the sort of brands that we create, the sale is also about the promotional value of that store stocking your brand, how their customers are going to feel about it, how they're going to emotionally touch with the brand. And these things are really, really important. So you need to have someone, the right person representing you if you're going to outsource your selling. And so Delith is saying, any questions here? So Delith is saying she's still a hobbyist at the moment as the regs are so prohibitive. A masterclass. Delith, I'll give you the link to the, hello Linda. God, all my friends are here. You're not supposed to be here. This is my skincare crowd. Delith, I'm going to give you the link. I'm going to put the link to the masterclass in the chat box right now. And it is www.skincarebusinessmasterclass.com. You might have to put HTTP in front of that. Oh, there you go. No, we're up there. Yes, now this is a program that I've run. I've run it how many times? 3 times now. In fact, I'm in the middle of the 3rd time right now. And it actually takes you right from your concept for wanting to create a skincare brand right through to how you get to international distribution. So, and I hold your hand right the way along. And because I've got one program on, the next group is going to be really small. So you'll get a lot of one-to-one help with me in it. And I'm also, the early bird offer's closed, but what I am going to do is say that anybody that looks at this today following this live, I will give a bonus one-to-one session. You get a one-to-one session with me anyway, but if you join before the end of today, you'll get another bonus one-to-one session. So there you go. So take a look at it and see if it's for you. And there's also a number of people on here that have done it. So you can ask, and there's a lot of endorsements on there. And I'm quite sure that if you email anyone that's in those endorsements, they will support you or give you any information that you want. So I've talked about selling. Also, while we're on the subject of selling, I have to tell you that the high street is not completely dead yet. Internet is obviously the best way to go, but it is a lot of work in terms of, thank you, Steph. Steph says she thoroughly recommends it. Hello, Louise. Thank you. The high street has, selling to the high street and selling to the major stores in the high street has the major advantage of giving you a physical platform and of positioning your products. So for example, if you are lucky enough to get into, say, Harrods or one of the big US stores, I don't know, it positions you. It shows that you're a serious brand, and it will in turn raise your possibility of export. So I like to tell the story that when I sold to Harrods for the first time, I worked really, really hard to get that order. I think we had about 3 or 4 meetings with them, and I ended up creating a unique range specially for them. And after all this work, I think the first order was for about £500 worth of goods, which didn't actually pay my taxi fares. I'd been in Harrods for 2 days. I think my products have been in Harrods for 2 days when TK Maxx came along and gave me an order for £30,000. And why did they do that? Because I was in Harrods. So that is the value of selling to West End stores. While for a lot of newcomers, I know it can seem to be like the place that you really want to get to, and you think that if you get there, you're going to be completely made. The actual value of the orders that the high street stores give are usually quite low, but what they do give you is a really, really invaluable platform to promote your brand from. So, so that's a reason to consider them, even in this climate, if they haven't gone broke. Or not. I think, is it Debenhams that went? I don't know. One of the big boys has gone. Quite honestly, the money these days, if you're a UK producer, is absolutely and undoubtedly in export. And again, these are things that we will touch on, or we will go into in great detail in the masterclass. To look at the various options open to you, your internet sales are good because there's good cash flow and you've got very high margins if you've done your costings properly, which is something else that you need to look at carefully. But they do require really good logistics, and they do tie you down to having to deliver product one at a time. Hi, Stella. But your store groups act as a showcase for you and position your brand, but the real power is in export and finding a distributor who will commit to buying large quantities from you and promote you overseas. So I think that's probably all I wanted to give you on this for now. Hi, Dee. Whoa. So has anybody got any other questions for me? Are there any specific things that you've been struggling with? Or have I got to think of something else to say to you? Okay, everybody's gone quiet now. Hold on. I should make up some questions really for these sessions, shouldn't I? All right. I can't manage to find info on my masterclass, Elisa. It's at, and I'll type it in again, it's at www.skincarebusinessmasterclass.com, and it's HTTP. Hang on, I'll put that. There is a link above this where it lit up. Hang on, Elisa. There we go. Hello, Coco Vera. Is that Coco Vera or Vera Coco? Elisa, can you see that now? Stella wants to know how to boost up online sales. It's really interesting because when I was running my business, online sales were, I mean, we had a massive website, but it was extremely early days for the internet, and online sales were I mean, if we got 2 sales a week, good, thank you. If we got 2 sales a week, it was enormous. But now I think, Stella, you are doing the right things. You've enrolled in various social media courses. You need to build your Instagram following, and it might be that you should consider maybe a membership or something that will create loyalty from your existing clients, so that they buy, if they commit to buying every so often, you can, and paying you in advance, they get them at a greatly reduced price, because your product looks beautiful and I love what you've done with it. Also, perhaps if you talked about, because Stella does a range of, well, she does a anti-pollution serum. So it might be that you could do some live chats or videos with environmental groups or something like that. It's just that what you need to do is drive any activity at all to your page and have some promotions on there that will help. Okay, Ishani, hello. There are the most unlikely crowd of people on here. I've got ex-boyfriends, I've got violinists, I've got all sorts of people. Okay, you're welcome, Stella. So that's the key. So the first thing, I'll just recap on that. So the first thing is to dress the part. Now, dressing the part, I'm going to go back to my glasses again, because if you invest in anything, invest in great photos for your website, great image builders for you, and also invest in clothes that you feel totally good in. They don't have to be expensive. You have to go into a meeting feeling totally comfortable with yourself. The second thing we touched on was mirroring, which works. So that is about taking the lead from your buyer in how you talk to them and how you approach them, and listen to what they're saying. Show sympathy. Hello, Joe. You're supposed to be on holiday today. So listen to them and take your lead from them. So don't be so full of your own stuff that you're not hearing them. Let them talk and respond to their questions by quoting their question. So that's that. The third thing was to have something special up your sleeve that you can offer the buyer, i.e. a promotional offer that will be specific for them, or giving them some way of investing in your brand creatively. I mean, maybe you could talk about a promotional campaign that you will do specifically for the store. Then we talked about knowing your numbers, which is hugely important, and also understanding, you're going to have to research the jargon a little bit, but understanding about what your delivery terms are. And one of the really important things is don't overpromise. So if you're going into a store and hoping to get a big order before you press the button on your production, be clear about when you can safely deliver, because reliability is hugely, hugely important. So don't overpromise. And then we've talked about mirroring. We've talked about what else we talked about? We talked a little bit about online sales there. So these are all little tips, little hints and tips, and really they stem around the fact that your buyer is hello, Nikki, how are you? How's your makeup bag? They stem around the fact that your buyer is a human being with her very own problems and her own targets that she's got to meet. And if she feels that you understand that, you're going to get a lot further with her than her feeling that you're trying to force feed her your product. So show as much interest in her as you do in your own product during that meeting. Good, I'm glad to hear it, Nikki. Nikki's got a unique makeup bag. That's right, isn't it? That she's created. She came and spent some time with me here in France. I think I've more or less got that covered. So if you haven't got any more questions on that, I shall go and put my relaxed glasses on and leave you to your day. But thank you very much for popping in and seeing me, and do let me know how you get on. And if you haven't looked at the Skincare Business Masterclass and you are serious about doing this, there is so much involved with building a skincare range. And I promise you that we will cover bases that you haven't even considered yet. So the course is for people that really want to do this, but are a little bit frightened of it maybe, and we take you through absolutely every step, and I won't let you go wrong. Okay, so if you go on skincarebusinessmasterclass.com today, you will get a bonus of an extra one-to-one call with me to get you straight on your brand, and that's today only. Okay, see you later. Bye, everyone.